All right, it's the 24th of February. The temperature's finally broke and we're in the 30s now, so I thought it'd be a good time to get out here and get going on those railings for the stairs. So quite a while back, we got a dozen church pews for free. All we had to do was disassemble them and haul them back, and so with the help of Jeff, we did that. And then it seems like a couple of months ago, we did a little prep work. We planed these and ripped them down. They're just a little bit taller than I need them to be, but you'll see why in a bit. But this material is what I'll be making all the rails for the stairs. So before I get started, we'll be using this radial arm saw that I purchased a while back, and I made one small mod to it. Went to Amazon and picked up some wheels with brakes on them so I can easily move that around. I think when I'm done with everything and I have my workshop built in this area, that radial arm saw will be located somewhere in there, and I'll have a table that runs there and one there. It'll probably be a fairly permanent location for it, but this is what I'm doing for now to make it easy to move around. So let's get started. Okay, these are the rails. They'll run horizontally. There will be 6 of these running from the floor up to the top rail. We have a steel frame that this is going to go on. It's 4 posts that are about 1.25 inches square. So what I'm doing is taking about 3/8 of an inch out of each of these where the posts land. So what I've done is clamped it to those posts and marked it. Another mark there. One more down here and one at the end. And what I've got here now is a dado blade about 3/8 of an inch off of the tabletop. And I'll just line that up and cut these out. I'm trying to be fairly precise here, so what I'm doing is cutting as close to the line as I can, and then I'll sneak up to it. And once I've cut it out, I've got a block here that represents that post. I'll use it to test fit it and see how I'm doing. Good there. That's good. Last one. I mentioned, I'm leaving these a little bit tall. That was so that I could rip those down to the final width, and I can rip off the part where there was a little bit of tear out on the back when I was cutting the dados. So I'm doing all the work down in the pole barn and then hauling things up to the house. And I'm taking my time just to make sure I get it right. So what I'm doing is basically cutting these things one at a time. And so making the trip back and forth, getting lots of exercise. I'm going to show you one trip, but I probably made about 20 or 30 trips by the time everything was done. All right, I've got the first two rails up on this long run. Let me show you what we're doing with these rails. If you look down this direction, see if I can show you it this way. This top rail sticks out about 3/8 of an inch. So in order for the rest of these horizontals to line up flush with that edge, they're 3/4 thick, I needed to take a little bit out, and so you can kind of see it on the end here. These are just spacers, so I can get the spacing right on those. But I basically carved out 3/8 of an inch, so those will go flush. And I'll pull the spacer out, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Now that I've got those in there, so you get the idea. So now with such a thin piece of wood right here, I was originally planning on bringing a screw in through the back and up into this to fasten it. But with only 3/8 of an inch to work with, I think I'm going to go with plan B. And what I'll do is get some good two-part epoxy. And when I go to put these in for their final setting, I'll put a little epoxy on, and then I'll clamp these and let that set up. And that should be fine. So now I'll show you how I did each one of these. So I'll go along and set this up with spacers in my initial fitting. Now I'll just take a pencil and mark on the back of this each one of these steel posts. Now I can take that down and take it over to the radial arm saw and just cut those grooves out. All right, that's all the end pieces. So you can kind of see what it looks like when they'll all be up. And still got a lot of a lot of finish work to do, and then when it's all done, or right toward the end, I'm going to bring these front ones in here. These will come in here, and I'm going to need to miter these right here. So that one will probably be, for me anyway, a lot of back and forth to get those miters right. All right, that's the first set, all cut, numbered, and the next thing that's going to happen, now these are all going to go on these rails, but the next thing that'll happen is these will get sanded and cut to length, and then there will probably be about a 3-hour exercise of cutting those miters at the corner, and once all that's done, it's just poly and install. So I probably won't show you all of that, but I will definitely come back with the finished product when we're all done. And there's one more piece that's yet to start. Got to do the same thing with that diagonal rail going downstairs, so I'll be working on that probably tomorrow.